All right, it's been an outrageous success. The isolation celebrity wheel. There's no other way to describe it. It's the talk of the town. And last week, of course, George Foreman landed on the great man, world heavyweight champion, and then lost to Ali, of course, in Zaire, and then later on got the title back about 20 years later. An extraordinary story.
And then did a sandwich maker.
He did, and made squillions out of that.
A meat grill.
A meat grill. So before we actually hear from George live, let's just go back and just get a little snippet of the last time he was on our show, and that was courtesy of Bristle back in the, 2KZ, who are you working for?
3UZ.
3UZ.
A good sport.
Let's have a listen.
George Foreman, the 42-year-old punch and preacher, survived 12 rounds with Evander Holyfield. But how will he measure up when he takes on Brian Taylor tomorrow? BT will ask the big man all the big questions, like his classic bouts with Ali, Frazier and Norton, his views on age, retirement, money, and what about those unusual eating habits? George Foreman delivers one punch after another when he...
Of course, on Game George, for one of the better one-on-one interviews we've ever heard. I know how much we're going to be playing of it, but my memory, my favourite bit of it was when, at the start of the interview, George basically said, I need a break. Anyway, I think we got it ready. Let's have a listen.
Seconds, we have George Foreman. 1, 2, 3, 4. Joining me now on the Good Sports is one of the greatest boxers of all time. The former heavyweight title holder who first won the title back in 1973 made a comeback to boxing after a 10-year layoff in 1987. Since then, he's fought his way back to the top. In April, he fought for the heavyweight title against Evander Holyfield, but he lost on points after 12 fantastic rounds. Joining us now is the punching preacher himself, George Foreman. Good morning to you, George.
Good morning to you.
Well, George, congratulations on making a fantastic comeback so far. You really must have been pleased with the efforts of that fight against Holyfield there some weeks ago.
I was awful happy with my performance. As a matter of fact, I'm not happy that I lost, of course, but it put me in a position if I want, and if Holyfield wants, we can fight again next year, and I'm really happy. I lost by a few points, but the important thing is we made 1 point.
What about since back in 1973 when you won the title, and now...
Can I stop you for one moment? That may be an important call. Could you hold on 1 second?
Okay, sure. We'll hang on for George there. I was just going to ask George, since
Hello?
Yeah, George, you back?
I'm back.
Yeah, since you held the title back in 73, and you look at today's fight world, are there any changes in tactics or styles, do you think?
No changes at all. As a matter of fact, I've tried to develop a more of an aggressive style to be able to keep the momentum going a little longer.
When you look at a Michael Jordan or someone like that, I suppose you say, well, yeah, he's certainly had something to do with it, hasn't he?
Yeah, and the boxing is only the granddaddy of them all. To say that boxing should be banned is like saying ping pong should be banned, because the granddaddy of them all is Mr. Boxing itself. Hold on.
Okay. George there's going to answer the phone again. He's obviously is a very good secretary as well. Hope he gets paid well for that. Got a nice warm coffee here anyway to keep us going. Just so happens that our time here in Australia fits in with the American time, so we've been able to ring George live and get his thoughts and catch him at home. So we're very lucky indeed to have the great man on the phone himself. So we certainly look forward to continuing this conversation as soon as George arrives back. Yeah, so back with George now. George, what about food? Food seems to be pretty important to you, and you make no bones about having plenty of it. How important is it to you?
Well, I can tell you this. I grew up very poor.
Okay, George, well, just one last question, if I can. 72 fights, 69 wins, 62 by knockout. George, when will you be fighting next?
I hope to be back in the ring in September.
Okay, George Foreman, we know you're a very busy man. We do appreciate your time, and best of luck with your future.
All the best, and thank you.
So, twice he hangs up just leaves the interview to answer a phone.
Yeah.
And then Brian somehow brings Michael Jordan into it.
Michael Jordan just plucked him out.
Just out of nowhere.
And what about when he asked him about the food?
Very important.
Foreman about to go into an answer. He says, well, very important. He goes, yeah, okay, thanks, George. And moves on to the next.
Food is very important to you, George.
No.
Yeah, well, I need to eat it.
It was edited to make me look bad.
Oh, so what was the question about food?
I'm not sure. It was to do with his grill, toast maker, or whatever.
Jim, what about got a nice warm coffee here?
Keep me going. Nice warm cup of
Beautiful
coffee.
bit of
I
padding.
had the pad for a couple of minutes.
Twice he just left the interview.
The strange thing about that is, I don't know.
Say it.
Well, it was. I think it was pre-recorded.
Right.
I don't know why we didn't cut that out.
I reckon you'd probably get rid of that bit. When he says, can you hang on for a second? I've got an important phone call. I love it.